Top 10 Best Marvel Movies. The Marvel Studios have produced more than 50 movies to date, including animated ones. Some of them were a total success, becoming blockbusters with amazing stories. That's why we bring you the most epic ones. Are you ready?
Yes!
Number 10. Thor Ragnarok, 2017. In this sequel directed by Taika Waititi, Asgard is threatened by a relentless and cruel Hela, who takes the throne and with the intention of eliminating Thor, takes away his hammer and sends him to another extreme of the galaxy, to be more specific, to the Sakaar planet as prisoner. Thor would do the impossible to return to his planet, finish with Hela, and stop Ragnarok, the battle of the end of the world, before it's too late. But to accomplish this, he has to fight like a gladiator and win to be released. He would even fight against a well-known Avenger, the Hulk, who doesn't remember his partner. The members of the cast are Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Hiddleston, Kate Blanchett, Benedict Cumberbatch, Idris Elba, Tessa Thompson, Jeff Goldblum, Karl Urban, and Anthony Hopkins. This movie won the Image Award for the Best Supporting Actor, and who would win the prize is Idris Elba, who played the role of Heimdall. According to the critics, this is a good film because it exploits the Nordic mythology, which is full of action and with the characteristic touch from the producers, which makes this 131-minute movie really entertaining. Number 9. Doctor Strange, 2016. This movie, directed by Scott Derrickson and based on the 1963 comic with the same name, which was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. This narrates the story of Stephen Strange, a talented and well-known surgeon who is also a bit vain. He suffers a traffic accident that changes his life completely because it leaves his hands damaged and it becomes impossible for him to work. Previously, he tried a lot of methods to prevent his condition, including surgical treatments, but Stephen could only recover a bit of movement from his hands. That's why he decides to look for other healing methods and travels to the Himalayas, where he meets the Ancient One, who shows him infinite realities. During his training, our main character learns to control his psychic powers, like telepathy, astral projection, and teletransportation, becoming the powerful Doctor Strange. This film is funny and has great special effects. Thanks to that, it won the Empire Award for Best Visual Effects. It has also obtained prizes such as Costume Designers Guild Award for the Best Dressing in a Fantasy Movie. Number 8. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Directed by John Watts and starring Tom Holland, this movie tells us the story of Peter Parker, who after fighting the Avengers, returns to his house with his Aunt May and has to deal with the typical adolescence problems while trying to take care of the city under the name of Spider-Man. He also tries to impress Tony Stark and Iron Man with the intention of permanently forming part of the Avengers, and there's no better time for this than with the apparition of the Vulture. The cast is completed by Marissa Tomei, Robert Downey Jr., Zendaya, Donald Glover, Tony Revolori, and Michael Keaton. This movie tries to capture the audience because, unlike other movies from this arachnid character, the director shows the human side of Peter Parker and how he really was at the beginning, a young man who would fight to dominate his abilities and discover his own identity. The movie is funny and for teens because it shows us a different perspective of Peter, keeping him away from the problems because in this movie, Mary Jane, Gwen, Harry Osborn, and Uncle Ben don't appear. Number 7. Guardians of the Galaxy, 2014. Directed by James Gunn and based on the comic created by Arnold Drake and Gene Colan, this movie is about Peter Quill, an intergalactic bounty hunter abducted from Earth while he was a child, and after stealing a sphere, he starts being followed by the powerful Ronin. To escape from him, Peter needs to form an intergalactic team integrated by dangerous ex-offenders like Gamora, a dangerous assassin whose planet was destroyed and was raised by Thanos, Drax the Destroyer, who lost his family by Ronin's hands and seeks revenge, Groot, a tree with superior intelligence but limited communication that belongs to a race of extraterrestrial plants, and a raccoon, an expert in weapons and war tactics. However, the sphere seems to be more powerful than what anybody thinks, and as a result, the group is determined to keep it far from the wrong hands to save the galaxy. Members of the cast are Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Lee Pace, Benicio del Toro, Dave Bautista, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, and others. For the critics, this film has an amazing soundtrack which accompanies the exciting fights, and also has great comedy in some situations, which makes it a funny movie. Number 6. Captain America: Civil War, 2016. The story begins when the Sokovia Agreements are created, which look for the Avengers to take care of the responsibility for the collateral damages of their fights. That's why the United States decides that superheroes should be controlled and pay for damage to the United Nations, besides forming a council that decides when the help of these heroes is needed. These new rules create internal problems for the group, and they form two different crews. One commanded by Captain America, and the other one by Iron Man. In one hand, Captain America doesn't want the government to get into his pants, while Iron Man agrees with the new politics, although he regrets creating Ultron. As if these problems weren't enough, Bucky Barnes, Captain America's friend, is accused of attacking the United Nations. He says he's innocent, but Tony Stark's crew doesn't think so. In the middle of this Avengers fight, a new enemy is born, so these two parts have to stop fighting and save the world again. It's directed by the Russo brothers, who also directed Captain America: The Winter Soldier in 2014, and the casting consisted of Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Jeremy Renner, Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, Don Cheadle, Daniel Bruhl, and Tom Holland. Number 5. Avengers 2012. Directed by Joss Whedon, this movie starts when a powerful enemy threatens to destroy the Earth, and the S.H.I.E.L.D. director Nick Fury decides to create a team with superheroes able to keep the world safe. Who already knows about this Marvel universe knows that Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Thunderhawk, and Black Widow form part of the Avengers. The casting includes Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, Jeremy Renner, Scarlett Johansson, Gwyneth Paltrow, Paul Bettany, Colby Smulders, Stellan Skarsgård, and Tom Hiddleston. This movie was well rated by critics, considering it an explosive spectacle, full of interesting battles and good special effects. The movie was recognized by the audience and won prizes such as MTV Movie Award for the Best Villain, Best Fight, and Best Movie, the People's Choice Award for Favorite Movie Hero and Favorite Movie Actor, the Teen Choice Award for Best Summer Actor, and the Best Summer Movie Action Adventure, between others. Number 4. Deadpool 2016. Directed by Tim Miller and based on the comic created by Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza. In the beginning, Deadpool was a secondary character, presenting himself as an anti-hero that had an official series. This movie tells us the story of Wade Wilson. His life is quiet next to his girlfriend Vanessa, but everything changes when he discovers he has cancer and almost no time left. That's why he decides to take an experiment that heals and makes him immortal, but leaves ugly marks all over his face and body. It leaves him disfigured. Because of his scary look, Wade acquires a dark and sarcastic sense of humor that is presented in the comics and in the movie.
Anyway, I got places to be, a face to fix, and bad guys to kill.
The main actors in this movie are Ryan Reynolds, Morena Baccarin, Ed Skrein, Gina Carano, and TJ Miller. This film was one of the favorites of the public and won a lot of awards, such as the Empire Award for Best Writing, the Teen Choice Awards for Best Action Movie, the Kerrang Award for Best Movie, the Critics' Choice Movie Award for Best Comedy and Best Comedy Actor, and the MTV Movie Award for Best Fight. Number 3. Black Panther 2018. Directed by Ryan Coogler and starring Chadwick Boseman, this movie is about T'Challa, who comes back to Wakanda, the place he was born, to serve his country and occupy his father's throne as the Black Panther. He has a feline instinct, a lot of strength, agility, and combat strategies with or without guns. Wakanda has advanced technology. That's why it's coveted by many explorers that call it El Dorado. Now T'Challa should protect his people, fighting next to Zuri, Ayo, Nakia, and his sister Shuri. The cast is completed by Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, Andy Serkis, Danae Gurria, Daniel Kaluuya, Forrest Whitaker, Angela Bassett, Florence Kasumba, Winston Duke, Letitia Wright, and Martin Freeman. This movie was well rated by the critics and the audience. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 97% fresh rating with an 8.2 out of 10. Black Panther generated so much hype it surpassed Titanic, gathering more than $1.3 billion worldwide. Number 2. Avengers: Infinity War 2018. This movie, where finally a lot of universes managed to get together, was directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. This time, the Avengers will have to fight the powerful Thanos to prevent him from getting the 5 Infinity Stones, which can be used to destroy half of the planet with a simple finger snap. You'd like to have this power, right? For this, these well-known Avengers will reunite with other superheroes like the Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, and even with Spider-Man. The cast is formed by Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Anthony Mackie, Tom Hiddleston, Idris Elba, Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen, Tom Holland, Sebastian Stan, Josh Brolin, Benedict Cumberbatch, Karen Gillan, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Chris Pratt, Chadwick Boseman, Letitia Wright, and Florence Kasumba. Number 1. Logan 2017. This movie takes place in 2029, and in this year, the mutant school does not exist. Logan lives with Professor X in El Paso, Mexico, and they aren't what they were before. The ex-Wolverine is a limousine driver and has an awful life, while Charles Xavier is really sick at his age. The appearance of a mysterious child named Laura Kinney changes the relatively calm life and will carry Logan to an incredible mission that will give life to every mutant on Earth. This last Wolverine adventure was directed by James Mangold, and the cast was formed by Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Boyd Holbrook, and the debuting actress Daphne Keane. It was praised by the critics because this movie leaves aside the comedy to give Wolverine an unforgettable final. It surpassed the $500 million mark in less than 3 weeks worldwide and has a score of 93% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Logan earned a lot of awards, such as Art Directors Guild Award for Best Production Design in Contemporary Cinema, the Empire Award for Best Actor, the Empire Award for Best Actress in a Debut Role, among others. What did you think of this top? Don't forget to comment which was your favorite Marvel movie. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share. See ya!